So here's some info on the distributive property, and when you look at this long word distributive right here, it's got this little root part. You got distribute basically within that, and when you think of the term distribute, like to hand something out or to give something out, that's kind of like where we're headed when we think of the distributive property. So this is the actual I guess definition for this: a property that can be used to find the product of a number and the sum or difference. And the definition's good, but the examples are going to be more important. You'll see in just a second. If you look at some of these, they use some variables in their examples here, but you're going to see parentheses in distributive property, and you're actually going to take a value outside of the parentheses and then multiply it to the values inside when you use the distributive property. So here's what it'll look like. First example. Let's take this one. No variables here. We've got 6, and then parentheses, we've got a 2 plus 4. Normally, what you guys would do if you did order of operations, you would add 2 plus 4 right here, and you'd get 6, and then you have the 6 on the outside, and we know if it's up against parentheses, you multiply it, and you get 36. If we use the distributive property, or if you are asked to use the distributive property, what you're going to do is actually distribute the 6 in a multiplicative way by multiplying it to each of the values inside the parentheses. So it's basically like saying 6 times 2 plus 6 times 4 if we wrote this out in long ways. So when we distribute it, 6 times 2 would be 12 plus 6 times 4, which is 24. And then we could go in here and we could solve this all the way out. We could do 24 plus 12, and this should equal 36. Now you'll notice it equals the same thing, 36. We get 36 either way. But when we distribute, we're multiplying this way. We're kind of multiplying by each value within the parentheses. Now, sometimes you can do this with variables. So let's try an example with variables. This says 8, and then you have x minus 3. Now, if you're asked to distribute here, you can't really do x minus 3 anyways. You don't know what x stands for, nothing. We can't do any subtraction there. So if we distribute, we take the 8 again, and we distribute it, we multiply it by each value inside. So it's like saying again, 8 times x minus this time, and then that's 8 times 3. So let's do it. 8 times x actually would just give us 8x. No number values, no constants to multiply. Minus 8 times 3. 8 times 3 would be 24. So when we do this, I'll do that in red. This is simplifying this expression down. That's as far as we can do it. We distributed the 8, and we got 8x minus 24. We can't subtract here because you have an 8x, and you can't take 24 away from a value with a variable in it when this one doesn't have a variable. There's no x over here, so we can't do anything with that. So that's how we leave this one. So if you have a variable, all you really do is simplify it. So in review, when you distribute, you take the number on the outside here, and you just multiply it by the values inside, and then if you can get a final answer, you get it. If not, you just simplify it down. Distributive property.